Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. I got somebody awesome here. I got MLS Law Show. What is up? How are you doing?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's always nice hanging out on the boat when I get a chance to. It's actually my first weekend actually being able to spend time on the boat, so I'm really enjoying it. But I'm also happy to be here. When you said 8:30 p.m., I was thinking, oh, okay, that'd be cool. And then I realized it was mountain time. So,
I've been told that one several times. It's like, just use Eastern time zone. And it's like, well, but I'm in the mountain time zone. That's 2 hours different. That's,
right.
so I mean, I do have the tendency to actually put the mountain time in there so everybody sees that it's mountain time. But, at the same time, it kind of sometimes doesn't always work out. I'm going to say hi to everybody here real quick. So we got Boomer, Madcore, Mofo. What is up, brother? Beautiful, Vicky T, Divinity. No, these people are all people that have the tendency to actually hang out with me on my Discord. What's up, Melissa Jane? How you doing, dear? Good to see you.
Oh, Melissa Jane. Hi, Melissa. I've been on, I think, one panel with her, and then
Nice.
I've been jumping in her. I jumped in her chats for a little bit, and then I think she took a break. Right, Melissa took a break, so I
Yeah,
haven't
she
seen
took a
her.
little break. It looked like she actually does have some other things that she's like a couple shorts that she's been putting out in the last few weeks. It looked like she put another one out like yesterday, day before, or maybe it was today. I don't remember. um,
You
cool.
know, I think I tweeted out the wrong link.
They're giving us our own name. We're Coolslaw. I mean,
Coleslaw. Ah, there you go, coleslaw. Nice.
nice.
I I think I tweeted out the wrong link for this stream. I'm just looking now.
Oh, you did. You tweeted out
Did
tonight's. I got a show that I put on after we're done with this, where I'll actually go through the Seattle cop that actually put out this scathing letter for resignation, 15 pages.
Jeez.
So I figured I'd cover that after we were done with our conversation. So that's the one that you actually tweeted out there.
Oh, there we go. There's the live one. Jeez. Okay. All right. Let me tweet out the right one. How about that? Jeez.
As you can see when you actually look through that, there's several different people that actually have shows coming up with me, whatever, that I actually have scheduled out for the next month and a half. And I've been reaching out to just about anybody and everybody I could to actually start something different like this, like you. I actually got a hold of you and said, hey, are you interested? You want to come join me? And you
Yeah,
graciously
absolutely.
said, yeah, let's go. What's up,
Yeah,
Keith Gregory? Good to see you.
I am just putting this in Discord right now because
Get the
I,
right one out
again,
there.
yeah, get the right one out there. Jeez.
Everybody's sitting at the other one wondering what
Well, I
is
was
everybody?
too, because I usually like to click on it and make sure that's working. Okay. Well, hi, Rabbit. I see Rabbit in the chat.
Rabbit, Aaron. See if you got more people coming. Aaron Hawk, good to see you. Glad you're here. Those, these members. So I got some new members that actually just started up recently, and it's actually kind of fun to actually see great guests. Yes, and that was the whole idea, was to actually get new guests, get some new people around, and see how this will actually work itself. I don't know if doing it members only is gonna actually be the best way for it, because your audience that you have are going to come here to actually see you and hopefully sub to me. If
And become members.
Right, make them become members to see the rest of it.
That's
It
not
could
bad.
be.
Actually, so I did a interview the other day with oh God, what's her name? It was a Michigan teen girl that got convicted of killing her father, Megan Emirowitz. Jeez,
Okay.
and I made it members only because I didn't want people talking trash to her in the chat. Like it's kind of started.
Yeah.
And then I got like 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. I got a bunch of new members because they were like, "Oh, I want to be in the chat," so they got membership. So it kind of works sometimes.
Yeah, right. It kind of works sometimes, and that's kind of where I was kind of hoping that this would actually work itself out, where I would actually have some new members joining Make sure that you have gifts, turned on if you're not a member already, because there could be possibility that some people might actually gift out those. You might be surprised on who uh, just may do that. I got a couple of people that really do support me, and they will actually gift memberships. So if you're around, to make sure you turn that feature on to catch some of those before we do go to members only. We'll probably go another 10-ish minutes before we decide to do that. Get
Sounds
them
good.
excited. Get them excited. We can talk about something in particular. We didn't really talk about, hey, should we talk about this? Should we talk about that? We just let's just have a conversation, see where it goes. Good
Yeah, I
logic.
have no idea what we're talking about, but I'm game for anything.
Good logic. I was able to actually direct him into the politics. As you can see, my politics are actually posted, behind me.
What side do you support? I can't figure it out.
You can't figure it out. Yeah, I mean, currently Trump, but I have to hear everybody. I have to go through all the debates and all those other things that they're going to actually do, and see who's actually the best. And he just might actually go through some, these several indictments that are being held up against him. Might go through some other instances where he might not be able to actually run, potentially. Then
I
I'd
don't
have to.
know. There's nothing in the law that says he can't run. He could be a convicted felon sitting in prison and run, right? And be elected and be president.
It wouldn't be anything different than Joe Biden sitting in his basement.
Right? Exactly. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing is so you can't. I mean, there's nothing in the law that prevents him from running, whether he's indicted or anything. The only thing that would prevent him from running is that if he was actually convicted on an impeachment, right? Which that hasn't happened yet. He's been impeached, but that's like being charged, right? And he wasn't convicted. That's the only thing
Right.
that I know of that could prevent him from running, or the term limits. So, and he hasn't hit either one of those. Hey, Jungmin in the chat.
Hey, what's up? I'm here and not excited about this. Signed, a Trump hater. You can
Signed
be a
a Trump
Trump hater. I don't discriminate
mind.
against people that don't like him. If you don't like him, you have the right to your opinion. I give everybody their own opinion and let them have what they wish. If you want to actually conversate about that, I'm totally fine with it. Go ahead and spam out whatever you'd like to actually spam out. Just watch out for the mods that are around. Just saying, there's about 30
There's
of
nothing
them.
wrong with you not liking Trump, Jung. I knew you didn't like Trump, and you still run my Discord, so we're cool.
No, yeah,
I'm married to someone who never voted for Trump, so it's all good. The votes are going to cancel each other out, whether we're living in the same house or not. Right?
Is this your wife or?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah.
Okay. Good to meet you, wife. Good to know. Good to know. There it goes. So Rabbit with 6-month membership already says make sure you check your posted links for gift receiving
and Rabbit
gifts,
gifted 5 memberships,
as well as Great Liquor just gifted 5 memberships. So there's 10 memberships new ones that just went out. Wow, that's not a single one of those people that just received a gift do I have a clue who they are. So that's the fun part. That's the fun part, because now all these new members for the next month get to actually join all of my other members only streams that are actually coming up within the month. I do have several people. I actually got the Broken Baker. He's showing up tomorrow at noon.
Okay.
My time. So he's like
Noon
8
your
o'clock.
time, yeah.
8 o'clock in the night for him. So it should be very interesting tomorrow as well to see what kind of conversations we get into. And
him and I are going to do a stream talking about the American political system versus the Danish political system, because they have like 13 parties there, and it's essentially a bureaucracy with they appoint their own leader, the prime minister that does their thing, but yeah, so essentially you kind of vote for a party, you don't vote for a person, from what I understand. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do a stream and talk about it. But
that should be interesting. I'll totally have to check that out. I've been actually watching him and watching you in the last week to see what you guys are actually about. So I kind of have some, for instance, on where you might actually be able to lean a conversation.
You can I'll comment about anything. Can you
Uh,
tell though that actually kind of leads me to a question. Can you tell which way I lean or how to steer the conversation based off of my streams?
I've not been able to figure you out in any way, shape, or form. I've watched several of your
That's
streams.
the plan.
I go and I pop in there and I sit, and I leave, leave my good vibes or whatever. Let myself be known that I'm there. Each time that I've popped in, I've noticed that you've caught it and you've been like, "Oh, Koolfrogg, I'm going to be with him. I'm going to be with him this week and make sure that you check him out." I found it very interesting to actually listen to you, but yeah, though I have that behind me, I still have the tendency to try pushing myself as being center of the road, because I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm far from being right leaning in any way, shape, or form."
Well, I think one of the misunderstandings that people that hate Trump, I'm going to say it, people that hate Trump, one of the misunderstandings they have for people who support Trump is that they're extreme right. When a lot of times they're not. A lot of times they're what you would consider traditionally centrist. Maybe they're fiscally
Right.
conservative, but liberal, socially liberal, right? Those are the people that support Trump, at least the people that I've spoken with. Um, and that's not perceived by people out there that aren't Trump supporters.
Right.
So
And it's amazing to continue with what you're saying is you actually see where lines actually are drawn or whatever, and you see where the center is. I took a political test right at the very beginning of all of this stuff before I started a channel way back year and a half, almost 2 years ago, going on, and like second episode maybe, and I'm seriously one notch to the left of center when I did that. After about a year of doing what I'd been doing, reading all the articles and letting my opinions out, I took one again after the 1 year. It put me 5 notches to the right of center, but still nowhere different from actual center from up and down. So I'm just like, did the center actually move that far to the left that it's actually projected me as being that far to the right? Because I still have the same thoughts and opinions that I did at the beginning.
well, I mean, it's always it's a metric to gauge the average and then place you somewhere in that average, right? So
Right.
did it move that one? I don't know. See, my problem with political tests is that there's not one out there that works for me because I don't think like most people do that are drafting those things. So I'll answer questions and it'll say it could say that I'm extreme left because of the way I answer questions, but they don't ask the right questions and they don't realize like what I actually think. It's weird. Those political tests are because I've taken a few because I wanted to see kind of how they work. Um, Say for social safety nets, right? For example, let's say social safety nets. We're talking about welfare, um, uh, Medicaid, Social Security, things like that. I'm in favor of those, but they should be at the state level, not at the federal level,
Correct.
right? So if you answer a poll like that, like yeah, I think there should be food assistance for people who can't afford food, but let's get the federal blackmail out of it. Let's have it state run. Well, it is state run, but it's through federal blackmail, and let's use state dollars. Let the state completely control it and let the state have a say, right? Rather than the federal government dictating to the states. So how do you poll me for that, right? So that's my problem with the polls. Where can you take a political Jung? You could Google them. There's dozens
Yes,
of them. They're all over the
definitely.
place.
Google them. You could hit political compass test and you find 5 or 6 of them right off the top.
If you don't
There
want to
you
eat
go.
bugs, drive crappy electric. Yeah.
What's up, Go Hagen? Good to see you, brother. Be tracked every moment and mutilate children. You're a fascist bigot. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, this is my problem with political polls or the political tests is that they're just they don't ask the right questions. They ask generalities, right? You could be in favor of something, but not the way it's being run right now. So if the other party has a better way of running it, the test isn't going to show you that. It's bad, that's my thing. And with two political parties, the problem is that you have to play the averages with those parties. There's a lot of things that the Republicans do that I don't like. There's a lot of things that they do that I do like.
Oh
Same
yeah,
with the
definitely.
Democrats. But you have to play the averages when you vote because you can only vote for one of them, right? So
Right.
so that's the thing.
And actually going to the point of and you get so many people that do it where they like vote down ballot. I'm a Democrat through and through, and I'm going to vote for every Democrat down the ballot, and not pay attention to who Joe Biden really is and who he's been for the last 50 years. You might actually find yourself not realizing why we're so close to communism here in the United States.
Iris says, what about making wages higher so companies who get tax breaks don't pay low wages and make workers qualify for welfare? Okay, Iris.
Every
I
time
own
that
a
you do that,
business.
right?
I own a
Right.
business, right? So I charge a certain amount per hour for my legal services, and I charge a certain amount an hour for my associates and for my paralegals. And then I have to build on top of that money to cover things like bookkeeping, rent, things like this. Okay. So let's just assume that's what I do. Now, if I'm going to pay my people more money, I have to have more money to pay them, which means that I have to raise my rates so that next time you need to hire me as an attorney, it's going to be more expensive. So now that you are making more money, it's still going to be more expensive to hire me, right? Now let's take that across the board. Every industry, from farmers to groceries to gas to the guys working the oil pipeline to the guys making your cars
Hmm.
to the guys fixing your cars to whatever industry you want. We're going to take it across the board. We're going to pay everybody more, but everything's going to cost more. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really work that way. You have to let the markets shake it out.
So now, real quick, before we go too far, because now Iris has quite a few fun little questions and things going on, and this is
I know
going
I
to
see them
actually
all. I
turn
bet it's fun.
itself into a members only stream. And Iris doesn't actually have a membership. That's the
Iris, get
fun
your
one. It's
membership.
just like you don't forget to hit that membership before we move on here. I don't want you to actually feel that you didn't get your questions answered. And then the interesting one is like looking at somebody like Great Liquor that actually gifted 5, doesn't have one himself. So, though he gifted me, he's unable to actually join the rest of the show if I go and I do that. And that's where I kind of where I bite my nails on the instance of doing a members only like this, whatever, because it's like, who am I taking away from and who's actually getting something out of that? MLS, you did. Thank you so much, dude.
I'm going to see if I can wrap Iris up in that gifted memberships I got. Or I just did. Let's see. One more. Oh,
And
Flux got a gifted
and
membership.
Flux
Hey,
got
Flux. I missed Iris, but I got Flux. I didn't even know she was here.
It doesn't actually go off of anybody that's actually in the room. It just goes off of anybody that's actually subscribed to you. So, these people are
Oh,
anybody that's not already here is going to catch an email that says that they had just gotten a gifted membership to
oh, she's
actually
not here.
see
'Cause I was
this.
gonna say I thought she was over on Pineapple Stream
Yeah.
talking about Houston.
But yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I thought you had to be in the chat in order to
You
get it.
don't. It's ridiculous. I wish that you
Oh,
did have to be in the chat. And
or at least
there's
they get
there's a
priority,
couple
right?
more.
That would.
They don't. I wish they did. It would totally make sense if they did. Uh, if she has to have that gifted membership turned on as well. So if she doesn't have it turned on, she still Apple phone won't let me get membership for some reason.
Yeah, you can't do
Iris.
it through the app. You have to go on your computer to purchase it, but you can get it gifted to you so long as the gifted membership is turned on.
Right, as long as you have that turned on, you can still receive. So there was another 6 that went through Madcore Mofo and Rabbit gifted one. Madcore did 5, and those went out to several people. Memento Mori. There you go. Nice.
Oh, this just to
A
try
lot
to
of
get
these names I
Iris a
don't know.
membership. Look how
All this
hard
to
we are
get
working for you,
all
Iris.
this to get Iris a membership. Hey, what's up, Mimsy? Good to see you. And that's why I kind of twiddled my thumbs on this. Do I actually make it a members only? It's actually working because I'm actually gaining these memberships, and that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted was all these memberships to
Well, let me
actually
try
be
to
there.
answer her other question then, real
Yeah,
quick.
that's
If
yeah.
because she put out here, okay, this was same argument when wages went from 425 to 725. Everything went up. Economy didn't die. Yes, everything went up. Economy's not going to die. But your ability to purchase, your purchase power is exactly the same because your wages are here and the cost of things are here. Your wages go up, everything goes up, they go up proportionally. You don't get any advantage. It's you're playing with widgets, right?
Right.
The value of the widget stays the same. So it doesn't matter if the cost of the widget goes up along with the value that you get paid to purchase or to make the widget. It doesn't matter. They go up together. It's just it
Right.
doesn't work that way.
You paying somebody more. I mean, I remember minimum wage back when I first got my first job, being excited that I was making more than minimum wage in Minnesota, and I was making $6.35, and everything was also great. I had so much money in my pocket to actually go and have the fun that I wanted to have without an issue. And I see people arguing for $15, and I'm like, that's not going to help, because now instead of my cheeseburger being a dollar off the dollar menu, now it's $2 off the $2 menu, because they had to actually increase it to pay for the people to actually get their wage. Really seriously, kind of the ignorance behind raising minimum wage is kind of very, very something different,
And it
for sure.
also ignores the fundamental system is that there's always going to be people that are making less and there's always going to be people that are making more.
Mhm.
And you want to be somewhere in the middle, ideally. uh, I don't want the stress associated with the people that make the top, right? But I also don't want to, be the stress or have the stress of the people that are at the bottom. The the reality is that people that are making the least and people that are making the most, those individuals can float in and out of those pay scales, right? So the same person that's making right now, whatever, minimum wage in Michigan is $10.10. So the person who's making $10.10 in Michigan right now doesn't have to be forever. There's going to be a new group or a new group of people that are going to fill that spot when they move up,
Mhm.
right? So there's always going to be the person making the least amount. But the individual who is making that, it's up to them to decide if they want to make more and move out of that position. And there's going to be other people that jump in and into that position. And it's a constant people moving around. The groups of people will always be the same. There's just you as an individual will be moving around. And
Right.
that's the thing I don't think, people understand. There's, we have to focus on the poor, the poor. Okay, there's always going to be the poor. Ideally, though, it won't be the same individual that's the poor because they've gotten opportunities, education, whatever, to move on.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Real quick, before we actually go over to the members only, we're going to actually end this here. I'm going to actually turn on the members only here within the next moment. Tam, Vicky T, thank you. Thank you both. Rabbit with another 5. I really do appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it looks like Melissa Jane did one as well. And then Vicky T with another. Miss Melissa Jane did just another one again. I really do appreciate y'all. Thank you so very much for actually doing such a thing. Uh, Anybody that doesn't have one and hasn't received one, if you have the abilities to actually get yourself to do one, it would be suggested. Though it's going to go to members only here, in a few days, I will actually turn it back on to everyone so that you can actually go back and rewatch whatever it is that you did miss
Bye, Iris.
Sorry, Iris. Great liquor. Y'all have a good one. I appreciate y'all so very much. Don't forget to actually come back and tomorrow when I actually talk to Broken Baker. Okay, members only. Here we go.
How do you turn it on automatically, or like in the middle of the stream?
There it went. Members only mode is on. When you hit that edit button where you actually go to.
Oh, you have to go into this. Okay.
Yep, you go into the edit button where you edit your titles and all that. Under the customization tab, it says participant mode, and I changed it to members only. Hit the save button, and it actually does that. You can always revert it back, like I will in the next few days. Melissa Jane gifted another one. So all these emails will go out to people that aren't here to actually come in and join us. So hopefully they all appreciate that and show the love back. Again, thank you all so very much for doing such a thing. So I don't really want to actually sway away from the conversation too much because you actually had some decent thought when it came to wage. And I talk to my chat. I really do. Almost anybody that's around, I will actually read out their stuff as they go. I know a lot of people will be like, wait a minute, that's how you get away from doing, super chats. And it's like,
yeah, I know. That's an ongoing conversation because I don't get a lot of super chats, and I know other streamers that only read the super chats, or at least those are the only ones they pull up. They might read them and comment in the chat, but they'll pull up on the screen only the super chats. I pull up all of them. I've done it since day one. Since Jamie's been the only one in my chat, I've been pulling them up, and so that's the thing. Oh, Mike Hunt.
Exactly. Mike Hunt for $4.99 donation. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or any thoughts to actually ask, yes, go ahead and do so. ID Crisis, good to see you, brother. Says, don't read this chat.
Don't read the chat. Yeah, I do. Aaron Hack's in there too. Yeah, I do interact with my chat a lot. And I've gotten some comments, people that have rewatched some of my streams. Like, you got to ignore the chat. Just focus on the case. Because you're talking about stuff going on in the chat and not the trial or something. I'm like, yeah, but the trial is boring right now. So I'm going to go interact with the chat.
Or you have them actually saying, well, I pay attention to my guest that's there and I don't worry about chat because, I'd rather, give my time to my guest. And it's like, well, we're here.
Your guest is usually reading the chat too.
We're here. Why aren't you both reading the chat? You should totally be doing that.
So I have. Yeah, so I've been on panels too, or even my own streams where, okay, Aaron, I got to address. So Aaron says that sometimes I ignore the chat and they start yelling at me. They do because I'll say something like, oh, I got to get this link so I can post it in the chat real quick. Hang on, let me find it. And then I'm going to like another window. Meanwhile, the chat has posted it like 8 times and they're all screaming at me. Yeah, so it's fun. I love my chat.
Exactly. I love my chat all so much. What's up, Suzanne? Good to see you, dear. Glad you're here. When it comes down to it, so like we were just actually having a conversation between myself, Madcore, Divinity, and a couple others in Discord about the feature of being able to stream somebody else's stream. There's arguments for it. There's arguments against it.
Do you mean stream sniping?
No,
or dual
like
streaming?
not just the restream. So like if I went ahead and I turned on the feature to allow you to stream to your guests at your own channel, there's an argument between doing that and doing the opposite where I actually have it shut off. I won't allow you to stream to your own audience. I'm in favor for you not streaming to your own audience. And I would almost put it to the fact, put it to the case of, I don't see how that actually benefits me for you to stream to your audience on your side. I don't see the benefit. I just don't.
Okay. Well, I'll push back on that a little bit.
Yeah.
So the Broken Baker and myself, when the first time I did a dual stream was with him, and he had been in my chat a couple of times, and we had talked about the legal system in Denmark as opposed to the United States. And so we decided that we were going to do a dual stream where we compared the two, where we talked kind of, step by step through the criminal system. And we both put links to each other's chat or to each other's streams pinned at the top. And while we were doing it, we acknowledged that it was a dual stream. And like I had the US flag and the Danish flag, and we had both of our emblems up and things like that. And we encouraged people to go over and sub to the other. So while at the time he was a lot less than me, I got new subs from it, and he also got new subs. And so it was beneficial. And then with Nick and I, because Nick Staroff will go on other channels and get other subs and whatever, people find him and they haven't found me. And we do our dual Jody Arias streams every Tuesday and Saturday. And it's the same thing. We put the links to each other's and pinned in our chats, and we encourage people to go over and subscribe to Nick if he's not subscribed, or if they're not subscribed to Nick, and then jump over to me if they're not subscribed to me. And we grow subscribers and new viewers that way, because the rest of the week we're off doing our other things, right? And we're not people that have been watching him for, say, the last 6 days might not know about me, and all of a sudden, hey, there I am, you can jump over and subscribe to me. So there is a benefit to it. It's not a fast growth, but it's sort of almost an organic growth. So I like it.
Okay.
Now, I will say that there has been times when people have, without my authorization, dual streamed when they were on my show to their channel, and they didn't ask me ahead of time, and it wasn't set up like, hey, this is a dual stream, we're both doing this. There was no talk of that. He just sort of stole it, for lack of a better term, and that I didn't like, and that I asked him to take it down, and he did, so that was fine. But I think if you do it right, it could be beneficial.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, if you actually explain to each other that that's what you wanted to actually make it do, I could see how that could actually help growth in
And
itself. Makes
Melissa
sense.
Jane is pointing out too, the dual stream watch hours, but it has to be okay with the host. Yeah. And so I've actually dual streamed with Valhalla to get him watch hours. And I just said on my stream, everyone go over there and subscribe and watch on Valhalla. Don't even watch me. I want to see like 0 watchers on mine and everyone over on his. And while that didn't benefit me directly, people appreciated that. And I think I got some word of mouth or something, because Valhalla's everywhere, right? So Valhalla's in the chat. Like, oh
Totally
yeah,
everywhere.
did you see my my marathon stream over the night with MLS was hosting it for me? He's awesome, and so you can kind of get some benefit that way too. But I did it
Sure.
just to really help him out. But there are also benefits, on the other end.
So then I think the one main issue, or I had a couple issues with actually doing the dual stream. I think the one main issue that I had was say you're because you have a different following than myself, and I went ahead and I because you did the legwork to invite me to your show, and I went ahead and if we didn't, I went ahead and started dual streaming, and all of a sudden, as opposed to you getting the super chats that you deserve for actually doing the legwork to invite me to get on your show and all the other, all of a sudden I'm getting all these super chats, and the guy that actually put on the stream is actually getting 0 super chats, and they're not watching.
Yeah, that I would agree is a problem. And you have to be I mean, obviously, if you and I were to dual stream, we'd have a conversation about it ahead of time, right? You're not just going to do it, and we're going to understand that it is what it is. And when we so Nick and I, when we first started the Jody Arias streams, we did like a little friendly competition, like, ooh, who can get more super chats, and things like that. And our chat, because we share a lot of the same chat, they would bounce back and forth and super chat both of us and things like that. And now it's who can give, get the most likes, because we're pushing that now. And so it is what it is. But as long as you have a conversation with it and you're comfortable with the other people on the panel, I don't see a problem with it. But you have to talk about it ahead of time. This is like any relationship of any sort. or of any sort, I should say, whether you're a partnership in a business or you guys are just doing a joint venture together, you need to have
Uh-oh.
but I don't. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It does sometimes make for an awkward situation when like if I'm dual streaming with Nick and I'm hosting it and I get a lot of super chats and he's not, or I get more. Sometimes it can be an awkward situation, but we both go into it knowing what we're doing.
Oh,
Uh,
so then I think I like to use Ricada for that instance. Would be like, have you ever seen anybody dual streaming with Ricada? And they're like, no.
no, I don't think so.
Do you think it's he does that for a reason? Because he actually wants you to actually come to his channel. He wants everybody that you actually had sub to actually come to his chat to actually
Hmm.
bolster his chat to actually get the super chats to actually grift the way it's intended to grift, as
Right.
opposed to actually just allowing it
See,
to be
yeah,
open.
there's yeah, I mean, there's pluses and minuses to both. Like I've been on
Right.
Ricada's channel, and after that, I got a lot of subs, just from being on his channel. And he would throw a link in, and he would say, "Hey, go subscribe to MLS." I don't know that I get that much more viewers though. At the end of the day, so I mean, I got some subs. He benefited from it. He was streaming business, and it was what it was. Uh, so I was getting nothing from being on the panel at all. I got 250 subs. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. The first day I was on there.
That's nice.
And I was only on for like an hour. But I don't know that I got a lot of viewers, continuous viewers from those subs. I don't know if someone's on my channel, sub to my channel, and they watch the rest of my shows after I went on Ricada, that's great. But I don't know specifically of anybody. So what was my benefit of coming on to Nick's show? Nick benefited because he had panel members, right? Not necessarily me, but hypothetical panel members.
Mhm.
So Nick's show was that much better by having people converse and talk about things. And I didn't get any benefit from it whatsoever because although I got some subs, it didn't turn into viewers. So why go on to other shows then?
Exactly. Exactly. It prevents, and that was it prevents people from actually doing the legwork to actually convince people to come join me. It's like I convinced you to come
Yeah.
join me. I've assumed that through the week, through the month, whatever it be that it took for since we actually talked to each other to actually put it on for this weekend, that you'd actually go and you'd promote, hey, I'm going to be with Koolfrogg on
Yeah.
Saturday. Don't forget to come check us out if you when or if you have the chance to actually do so. And which would actually bring people in. They'd see the conversation, be like, "Oh, they're having a great conversation. I like this guy. He's kind of funny. He's kind of got some weird politics that I don't really care for, but I don't care. I'm still going to subscribe to him because, hey, I'm going to see what else he's about and what he actually does." Which I normally do news and politics. Yes, that's
Right, right,
not,
right.
you know,
Yeah, no, and Jung's in the chat pushing back on me, but that's fine. But my point is I would like to grow naturally, more
yes.
organically, not so quick that I get a bunch of subs, but no one's really watching me. If I still had
Right.
the same number of people watching all of my streams, but I have 3 times as many subs, then what's the point? So I like it to grow naturally. I think for me, right now there's a group of YouTubers and chatters. We have nice little a nice little we'll say family going on. I think that's how Valhalla describes it. We all kind of support each other and grow, and then more
Yeah.
people find us, and someone will pop on the expert and say, "Oh, go check out MLS," or whatever. So I like that slow growth, and I think if you develop the community, you can do that slower growth and help everybody grow at the same time. And that's really what I get out of the dual streams. But again, you got to be, everyone's got to be comfortable with it and on board with that whole approach. Oh, been there, done that's in the chat. don't know if he's been in for a while. I just saw it.
Been there, done it. Yeah, I actually the first message that he set up, I like to be recognized. I know when I threw it up on the screen for a few seconds just so you'd stay around. It says, "I don't know. I found Legal Vices and others through Nick's channel. I hardly watch his channel now. I'm not sure YouTube would have shown me you guys."
Yeah, we're low in the algorithm, right? And so, and I'm new to this too, so it's a matter of putting in the right headlines and
Sure,
tags, and
sure. So I
getting
mean,
those.
I give props to somebody like Legal Vices for the simple fact that with because I had actually reached out to him in the past. He had actually joined me several different times for Friday nights and just had a good chat with like 10 people in the room or whatever, and had him come around. That he actually did help me out by actually coming on my channel. His audience was notified that he was there, because we make sure that that they knew that he was going to be there, and he was in the description like you're up in that line. You've been in that line forever, so anybody that should have been notified that you were going to actually be here, if they went and they looked up MLS Law, they were like, "Oh, wait, who's this guy, and why is he actually tagged to the channel?" And whatever. So they'd have the tendency to come click on it and check it out. Vices
Mhm.
is one of those guys that actually did join me several times, and I did pick up great audience from him. So a lot of this audience in particular that I actually, started off with, even it did come from Nick Ricada, did come from Joe Neerman, did come from Legal Vices, Aussie Overlord, and several others that I had talked to several different times. So I have talked to them. I've had them around, So I mean,
How long have those guys been doing this? I don't even know.
um, it doesn't seem like it's been long enough. It really doesn't.
Because
For
I
as
came
many,
across this whole LawTube thing in April or May of 2020, because Viva did a story about one of my cases, and everyone was sharing it to me saying, "Hey, he's talking about your case." And that's how I discovered this whole, like, oh, there's people on YouTube talking about legal stuff. Um, so that's how I discovered it. And then, that led to, Ricada and Joe and Uncivil and all that. But I don't know how long they've been doing it.
um, it like I said, doesn't seem long enough. It seems like a lot of them actually kind of started out right around about the time that you would have the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff,
Oh, that's not that
because
long.
which isn't that long, but there's a lot of people that like had really small channels compared to where they're at now.
Yeah,
That
mine's been around
actually,
for like 5 years,
wow.
but no one was watching it. Because I would do small little, like, scripted, pre-recorded videos with the teleprompter, and my brother and I would read into it, and then we'd edit them and post that, and we started doing that like 5 years ago. So it's been around, but no one was. I have 69 views on one of them or something like that. So
See, Ben just said Vices hit a year just a few months ago.
oh, okay.
You see, I've been here for almost going. I'm going on 2. I'm going on 2 years. Whatever, it should be within the next few months that I'll be at the 2 years. Um, Actually, maybe a few more months. I think it was December. December should be 2 years for me. So I would have been around before him, but my small little channel, which actually grew by about almost 10 tonight because of the likeness of you. I appreciate it so
Nice.
very much. It's still at 1,119 because I'm small channel. It's not going to grow as fast because of this kind of stuff. They see Trump and they're like, "Oh, he's extreme," and they walk off and they're like, "I don't want to."
Well, if they see a Trump in the background, they should either be all for you or all against you, but either way, watching you, right?
That's what I say. Hit that like button either way, no matter what. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the like button if you don't like it, and then leave a comment to let me know what I can do better for you. I mean,
Pam
always
says she
do.
likes live over pre-recorded. I agree because pre-recorded is horrible. Have you ever done a pre-recorded Koolfrogg where you have to
I
edit it all
have.
together?
I have.
God,
I
it's
have a couple things on this particular channel that I have them under labeled under the pickerel. It's actually something that I did like maybe 6 or 7 different recordings off of using OBS, and I don't
so
know.
I didn't realize this when we first started. So my brother had the idea of doing a YouTube channel to help promote some of his real estate stuff, and I was going to be the lawyer, and we are going to talk about whatever real estate stuff. And so there's a difference between a video camera and a still camera that can take videos. And apparently the tariff is the big difference. And so I ordered a camera that's a still camera, but it also takes videos, and it's a Sony, and it's really expensive and it's really nice quality, but it only takes up to 14 minutes and 59 seconds of video, because any longer than that, it's considered a video camera and the tariff tax goes way up. And so we would set this up and we'd be talking into the camera and doing our teleprompter and realize it only recorded like 14 minutes. And we're like, oh, we got to reset it every time. And so we could only get like 14 minutes in, and then we had to reset it. And that's with all of our edits and stuff, or our outtakes, I guess, our screw ups. And it was such a pain in the ass, but we still use those cameras. I still have them, but we used it all the way through. We never bought like a real video camera. And so we have all these short little clips, and I'd have to splice it together and cut everything. It was a pain in the ass. That's what we did.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work that I wouldn't really even want to do. And I've been actually suggested, because I read news articles, so like I'll pull up like 25, 30 news articles, I'll read it, I'll leave an opinion, I'll read another one, leave an opinion, maybe leave an opinion halfway through or whatever as I'm going. And by the time you get to the end doing all that, 3 hours later, you're like, thank you all so very much. And it's like, oh, now I should take that and I should dump it into an editor, and I should edit out each and every single one of those news articles and the thought and the opinion to go with it, and edit out all the other randomness that happens in between the articles, and then post all those. And I'm like, I don't have the time to do that. I just,
No, it's well, even when I first started streaming, people would say, well, go in and put the time codes in your description so that we can jump around. And I said, all right, that's kind of a cool idea. But the time it even takes to go through one of your live streams and then just denote the time codes for various things it's time consuming. It's not easy to do. It's not like, oh, you just snap your fingers and it's done. I will do it still for a couple of my streams. Like I think the last one I did when I broke down the Denny motion on Zachariah Anderson, and I went through all of that because there were different things that I talked about there. So I went through and did those time codes, but even that is a pain. But if I wanted to download that and then edit out that one particular part and then post that and then edit out another particular part and post that, it's a pain. Editing is a pain in the butt, Melissa says, and I agree. In fact, if you look at some of our later, like the youngest old streams that were actually pre-recorded and edited together, we hired out a guy to do it. And because we were just done. I was spending, for one video, we'd do 2 a week. We'd film 2 a week. And I would spend probably 4 hours drafting the script, getting all the legal stuff together. We'd spend maybe an hour recording it. And then I'd spend like 6 hours editing this stupid thing. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore.
And as far as that goes, it's like I have like one of the best clip artists around of Divinity Set. She's been around this community for quite some time. She's one of those that I get to talk to on almost a daily basis. She's just a wonderful person. She's very, very much into doing the VodTube edit clip stuff for the longest time. And I could simply just be like, hey, can you help me? But then at the same time, do I really think that's going to be beneficial for her to actually take her time to actually do such a thing? And then, then repost it to my own, it's like, I don't want to actually put somebody else in doing something that would actually benefit my channel. I don't feel it's that is if it's not going to benefit them, I'd rather it benefit them as well. So it's kind of there's some
Oh, she says she retired. Divinity, I just sent you a message on
shit.
Discord. Never mind. Disregard.
She might do some, but she's tried to retire herself into doing something similar to what I do with the news, and she actually has a co-host that actually joins her and does Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays on Rumble type thing or whatever.
Right.
So she tried to actually do something a little different, but if there's something good enough, I wouldn't put it past her of actually finding her way into doing something if she could benefit from it. See, she's like, haha, I got you. So it though she
I pay money.
may say, but see,
I'll pay you in super chats.
pay in super chats. There you go.
Pay you in
Rumble
super chats.
rants it is.
Or Rumble rant, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
No, and there were people that would by the way, Jungmin's in the chat still, I think. Yeah.
Mhm.
She runs my Discord. She's awesome. I don't know why she wants to listen to me and run my Discord, but it's amazing. The work that she's put in the Discord, and all of my mods and everybody so many people are very helpful.
Mhm.
But there are some things that require actual like paid people. And so like I'm putting together a website right now, or I have a website, but I'm modifying it so that there's a paywall, because I'm going to start doing unedited live trial coverage with my own cameras and things like that other people will be able to access. But I need someone to to help me set that up, and I don't mind doing that. Or I'm getting some new graphics done for some merchandise and things like that.
Mhm.
I don't mind paying for that kind of stuff. It's just the like Farrell even clips my stuff and puts it out there on her own channel, which benefits her, but then it also still puts me
Right.
out.
Right.
That's great.
Um,
My son is calling me. Just gonna text him and let him know I'm streaming.
Sure. So then, I've run my own Discord. I do have the likeness of somebody like Moose Maneuver that I can actually lean on and actually get him to actually do all of those things that I have an issue doing, like not realizing how to actually create little thumbnails or whatever that people can actually go down into the leave emojis. Or I have no emojis. I have none of that. You see, all of my memberships all still have stars, colored stars, as opposed to having specific things that would actually come at so many months or whatever. Uh,
Oh yeah.
I have none of that, so I've been able to actually go to the point of actually asking, some people to actually assist me on some of that. And I did tell him that I would actually, if we could actually figure something out, that I would actually send him something, because I don't feel it's necessary for him to do all that work and not get something out of it. It's like, what is he going to do? What, after getting all that, what is he going to get out of it? Well, he needs to be, uh, sub to and monetized himself, so that way I can actually make it easier to actually go and send him something, as opposed to actually asking him to send me a PayPal link, so that way I can actually send him something for the stuff that he does for me. So yes, I do agree, there are some things that you just need to have somebody help you with that should get paid for doing certain things, and there's some
Yeah.
awesome people that are willing to do that.
I see Junk's getting all. Oh yeah, no, excited utterance offered. All right. Do you know excited utterance?
I don't.
She's been in the chat a lot, but she just started jumping on some panels. She was on me the other day, and then she's been on with Baker quite a bit.
Sure.
So, yeah.
See, and as we're speaking right now, I just received a message for the 30th of September to do another members only stream. I'm getting myself booked out on these members only streams with people that love it so much to do it. I got Ken's counseling couch coming through at the end of the next month.
Who's that?
next month is pretty much already scheduled out for all these Saturdays. The Saturdays is where I'd like to do it this particular time or whatever. And I've been able to actually get a hold of different people to actually come through. And there's so many people like, yeah, I got it. Let's go. Let's have some fun. It's like, heck yeah, Ken's counseling coach. He's awesome, dude. He's an awesome dude. I've actually joined him a couple different times in the past. I've talked to him several different times in other people's chats, and to pick up somebody new to actually talk to is always so much fun because you just don't know where you can actually go next. Because I mean, we can talk about something else if you want. We can move this
I'm
topic
fine with
around. What's to I mean,
it's your show. I have no
I
idea.
have
I
the
am
issue with
unprepared.
talking politics. I know there's a lot of people that are out there just like, politics, really? So I mean, we kind of hit on the politics at the very beginning. We kind of said a couple things because obvious reasons that we actually would go actually lean that way. Is you see the political flag there, whatever. Uh, have you been paying attention to the field of 13 Republicans and 4 Democrats, as well as a couple others?
And I have not been focusing on any of the candidates. I know, no, not really. It's too early in the year or too early in the season for me because it's all hype. It's rumors. A lot, people drop out, other people join, and to me, it's just it's insider politics at this stage. Not until there's a real, let's see, what is it? It's 2023, so we'll hit January, February. Then I'll start paying attention to them all. But I'm enjoying the scramble that's been going on between Hunter and Trump. Who can get more charges? Brought and dismissed and brought and dismissed. So that's a lot of fun. But
dude, because it's the law side of things that actually interests you on that. So I just seriously ran a show yesterday morning. Dave, yeah, I think it was yesterday morning. Myself and Beautifully Inappropriate joined me, and we actually held a conversation about Merrick Garland's appointment of David Weiss being special counsel to
yeah,
Hunter Biden case. And I'm like,
yeah, I saw that.
how?
I mean, isn't it conflicted out? Would be my first thought, but
Right, conflict of interest straight out.
I don't know.
I see you glitching
I
here
guess
and there.
if we're really going to dive into it, they should all kind of be conflicted out. But yeah, I don't know.
It's
I mean,
okay.
but it's all no. I'm just trying to think. To all of it is insider, right? So Hunter is appointed essentially to a Ukrainian oil gas company. Then he apparently he uses his father, who was vice president at the time, to throw some weight around and get some influence and whatever you want to say. And then he has the whole laptop thing, which just kind of disappears. And then he's brought up on these gun charges that tried to get dismissed, and then the judge wasn't having it. But it's all insider. It's all show, right? It doesn't matter who is appointed at the end of the day, does it? I guess is kind of what I was going at, because isn't it all for show?
Is that all it is? Is just a big show of whatever we can actually, convince the people of being what we want, and everything will be okay in the end because they'll believe us when we actually mass spam it to mainstream media.
Yeah, I think it's all. Yeah, I mean, I think it's all for show. Okay, so we're going to be fair in our dealings here, right? We're indicting Trump, so we need to show that we're fair in our dealings. So we're going to have Hunter indicted, but he's going to get off on a sweetheart deal. And when that blows up because the judge says, I don't think so. Now we're going to appoint special counsel that's also an insider that's going to investigate, right? And determine, oh, there's really nothing going on here, but we gave it our all. We did it. We're being fair. We're investigating this stuff. It's all for show. Is that not how you see it?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I
It
mean,
really. No,
I don't know how else to see it.
exactly. It's almost ridiculous to the point how when you see somebody like David Weiss being actually pushed to the forefront of being special counsel, you have the tendency to be like, well, wait a minute here. That you can't have the same special counsel. It's so conflicted, and for him to actually do that, would it be beneficial for Trump in the end when he's actually the one that's appointed the judge that's overlooking Biden's stuff or Hunter's stuff? He's also appointed the judge that's looking over his document stuff. But the one that's going after the J6 stuff is actually a Obama appointed judge. And for whatever reason, judges are always looked at as who appointed them, and they have a political leaning. Judges not supposed to have a political leaning.
Well, okay, so here's the thing with judges, and you can see it if you read any Supreme Court opinion. If you get a left-leaning Supreme Court justice that writes an opinion, as opposed to a right-leaning, or we'll say traditionalist, constructionist, whatever you want to say, textualist judge.
So, like the difference between Clarence Thomas and Ketanji Brown Jackson, one's on the right, one's on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if so a conservative justice, a textualist, right? So a textualist is usually considered a conservative justice as opposed to a liberal justice. But a textualist, even though they're termed a conservative justice, will be more likely to read into a law a liberal understanding of it if it's there. Whereas a liberal justice, the ones that say the Constitution is a living, breathing document, which it's not, will try to interpret, how do we feel about this now? Is there a way that I can make the law work for the outcome that I want? And so when you have a liberal justice deciding a case, the tendency is I'm going to decide and then I'm going to make my argument to support my decision. Whereas a textualist judge, and we're getting away from the Supreme Court judges, we're just trial court judges, right? We'll do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to read the law, and regardless of what I think should happen or what I feel about this particular defendant or whatever, this is going to be my ruling. And you also see it when you look at some of these trials that we're covering, right? So we had a Nick Starov was covering a trial. I can't remember the name of it, but it was actually a directed verdict. How often do you see a judge directing a verdict, right? So the state brings its case, it calls all of its witnesses, presents all of its evidence, and the state says, or the defense says, that's not enough. Judge, you must dismiss this case. Judges rarely grant those. But if you had a judge that actually looks at the facts and the law, they should be more granted more often than not. But you don't have a lot of judges that do that. A lot of judges will, I have an opinion and I'm going to find the law that supports my opinion. And I go, this whole explanation to basically say, when you have two sets of judges or justices, a liberal judge is more likely to give a result that they think should be there. And you're going to get more favorable rulings from a liberal judge if you are liberal. But a conservative judge is going to give you a mixed bag. So if you're a conservative and you're looking at a conservative judge, you might not like some of their rulings because they're trying to be fair and honest and read the law the way it is. So you might not like it, but they're going to give you a fair and honest decision. So you're going to get half the decisions from a conservative judge are going to be liberal, and all of the decisions from the liberal judge are going to be liberal. So at the end of the day, you get a net positive for the liberal agenda. That's kind of really dumbing it down. But that's the problem that I see with these judges, right? They're not supposed to be political, but they are to a greater extent towards the liberal agenda. And so I even personal example, I had a guy, this is Wayne County, this is Detroit. Wayne County, Kim Worthy is the prosecutor, the elected prosecutor. She's been there for 20 years. I don't know. She's a staple in the community. I don't even think she has people running against her anymore. And for the most part, she's fine. However, she has lieutenants under her that have certain agendas. One of them is no more male on female violence, right? That's their thing. We're going to stop all of this in Wayne County, and we're going to charge everybody to the nth degree. So I have a client who, living with a woman, they break up, he moves out, she gets a PPO against him based off of things other people said to her on Facebook about my client, not because of anything my client did, but those things get handed out like candy in Wayne County. So there's a PPO, personal protection order. Now, he lived there for over a year. After the PPO was issued, packages arrived at her house, and she claimed that he was communicating with her in violation of the PPO. Well, he had ordered them like months before, car parts, whatever, toys for the kid's birthday or something like that. And so now he's charged with a felony, aggravated stalking. And it's aggravated because it's in violation of a personal protection order. So we have the preliminary examination, and the woman says, I was scared because of what other people were telling me about this guy online on Facebook, not because of anything my client said. And it was bound over. And then I bring a motion again in front of the new judge at the felony level and say, listen, she testified that nothing my client did made her scared. This PPO should go away. And he sent her packages. He didn't. He sent himself packages that even had his name on them. You should dismiss this. And the judge said, well, she said she was scared, so that's enough, because they have this particular agenda. We pushed the issue. This was like in the mid of COVID, right? So it took 2 years to actually get the trial. So we're ready on the day of trial, and the prosecutor decides that they want to give a sweetheart deal, basically stay out of trouble for 6 months, and we're going to dismiss this. So the judge is reading, the new judge, by the way, gets elected in the meantime, and a new judge takes over the case. And the judge is looking at this saying, where's the aggravation? Where's the threats? Where's the anything? There's nothing here. Why is this even a case? And the point is it shouldn't be that way. This was a more textualist judge that was like, why are we even here? As opposed to an agenda-driven judge and an agenda-driven prosecutor. Because there really wasn't anything. There was no stalking. There was no aggravation. There was no threats. There was no anything that my client did. And so that's an example of how you can have a bad judge make a decision as opposed to a good judge on the very same case, very local. I don't know if any of that made sense, but no, that's the problem with
it. That's very interesting that it would actually go down that way. One would see it, as being aggravated. The next one just be like, well, I don't see the aggravation, so drop it. And
yeah, right. But it took the right judge actually looking at what was said, what was testified to, what the actual elements of the crime are, to make that call, right? But that's what judges should be doing. Now, we could have a different set of facts where this judge is going to be like, well, yeah, he clearly threatened her, right? So if he actually did threaten her, but that never happened. So, so you can have agenda-driven judges, and that's the problem. But you're going to have bad rulings, or not bad rulings. You're going to have unfavorable rulings from textualist judges as well. Just when you add them up, It's just you're going to have more and more bad rulings.
So then, under that circumstance, so when you actually look at somebody like the judge that's supposed to be for um, Trump's J6 stuff, and they're actually trying to get it moved to West Virginia judge because they think the West Virginia judge would be more fair. Kind of under that same circumstance, uh, did he actually incite the violence? Would the other judge actually look at him and be like, no, he didn't? Because we look at the time frame and we can actually see that he said peacefully and patriotically that the mainstream news media will fail to say at any point in time. They'll skip over that. Would the other judge actually that's in West Virginia actually be more lenient to say, nah, that's not how it happened? We can
Well,
actually see it.
hopefully you get a judge that looks at the law and looks at the facts that they're being presented and could say that. I watched the January 6th hearings. We streamed it actually,
Mhm.
and most of them. I think we missed the last one, but this is their
They
best
were
case
boring.
scenario.
They were boring and long. We streamed them as well.
But this is their best case scenario, right? Unchallenged evidence that consists of statements that are hearsay and speculative and would never be allowed in court. And they still, even with all of that, couldn't say that he incited anything. So I don't think they have a snowball's chance in hell if you have a judge that's actually going to look at the law and the facts. But could I conceive of a way if I was just going to my position is that he's guilty, I'm going to find a legal justification for it? Absolutely. So if you have a judge that has a political agenda, then absolutely he's going to get convicted. So everyone who's on there saying he can't get convicted because the law doesn't support that, or he shouldn't be convicted because the law doesn't support that, it really doesn't matter. What matters is if you have a judge that's willing to follow the law. Let's see, Murph's Turf. I saw an
Mhm.
interview of the chief of police. Intelligence wasn't shared with him, and Pelosi didn't approve National Guard on January 6th. Well, that was one of the big things. So I watched it with my friend Damien,
He's not
who's the
wrong.
yang to my yin
Yeah.
politically. Um, but one of the things he kept pushing was, why didn't Trump call out the National Guard? Why didn't he call out the military? He doesn't have to, right? So he doesn't have to. And the word fight, I think he uses the word fight on stage. Like every politician uses the word fight. So that didn't make sense. What did he actually do
I
to
mean, he actually said peacefully and patriotically, let's march down and fight for what we believe is right.
yeah.
He didn't say to actually physically, let's take it to the ring, let's punch each other out, and do what's the violent way. He actually said, let's peacefully and patriotically march down and fight for what is right for, our country that's, obviously in shambles as we let it go.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, that should go away really quick. The whole trying to subvert the election, uh, whatever that charge is, I can't remember the name of the charge. That needs to go away. Uh,
There's four of them for J6 alone.
yeah.
Obstruction.
Well, him
But
calling the big point that like Jung and others have made is, well, he called the Georgia Secretary of State about the election results. Okay, but
okay.
what if the election took place in Ukraine and he called the Ukrainian election authority and said, "Hey, we need to make sure that this was fair election." Would anybody be faulting him? No, because that's his job, right? I mean, his job that's isn't necessarily Ukraine, but he's on the world stage, and him checking in on it isn't a bad thing. But it's also specifically his job to make sure that elections are fair and accurate. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with him doing that, and it doesn't make it a crime. Especially he's in office at the time. And on top of that,
Right.
he's a candidate. So he has the right to challenge that, to question that on so many different levels. Run up the chain of Pelosi, there was definitely misconception. Yeah, I mean, it was a giant uh, cluster of communication and nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
miscommunication and nonsense, and deliberate non-communication, in my opinion.
Yeah, there was a huge bout of miscommunication that was actually had across the whole thing. I mean, even going into those hearings, we only seen maybe a dozen videos, 15 at the most, and not the other 45,000 videos that were actually produced that day in and around what was going on. They did eventually get released. I haven't had a chance to even kind of even delve into even look at any of the other videos that were there. But why didn't they either?
Have you seen that? Have you seen that website that has all of them and all the videos, and it tracks? You can watch all the videos. It's got security videos, cell phone videos, everything, and it tracks them all in like real time.
All
And so
45,000
you
of
can see
them?
what's going on. Yeah, no, it's a
Wow.
whole website. Yeah, it has them all, and you can say, okay, here's what's going on at the Capitol. Then you can jump over to what's going on at the rally at the same time, and all this stuff. You can jump around and track it, second by
So
second.
you could actually see the time frame that they had already uh, breached the Capitol before he was even done saying
Yep.
what he was saying on stage.
Yeah, we
Awesome.
were pulling it up during the live streams. I'm gonna have to find it again. I'll send it to you. But it's
Yeah.
a really cool website with all these videos. And so yeah, you can see people storming the Capitol or whatever you want to call it, while he's still on stage and all this stuff. So before he even finishes his speech, people are heading towards the Capitol and things like that. It's a really interesting website. Let me see if I can try to find it.
Because and that's who I was just going to bring up, like Murph Surf just brought, because of somebody like the likeness of maybe Ray Epps that we have the tendency to just kind of overlook. Because
Ray
he
Epps.
Ray Epps is the
Oh,
Fed that said we must go into the Capitol. Let's and the whole crowd's like no, no, and then the next day he's up there up and conducting people to actually break through the first barrier. But apparently that didn't happen either because they don't want you to believe that Ray Epps, a Fed, would actually have something to do with such a thing.
all right. I'm gonna have to do some digging because I haven't looked at that
No,
website in a
you're
while.
fine because we're not going to be able to show it here anyway. But yeah, to actually uh, um, see something like that would be very interesting to actually try watching. I know there's several hundreds of hours of footage that you could actually go through.
Yeah, but
Um,
the nice thing is that it's almost in a like a video editor sort of format where you could just
so you could
jump
see multiple.
between. Yes, you can do multiple locations, or you can see like all right, I'm going to click at the rally location and what's going on in this time, and then as it moves, you can jump down to the Capitol location or the mall or whatever. You can jump through it all and see exactly what's going on. I'll find it. I'll send it to you in Discord or something.
Yep. You had asked me if I've ever recorded anything. The 6 or 7 recordings that I did do, one of them was on this particular instance of him actually being on a FBI wanted list, and miraculously, mysteriously, just kind of got removed and disappeared from that. Uh, I've watched a lot of things to go along with the Patriot Front, which in itself is uh, kind of looks like a bunch of feds running around in khakis and blue shirts or whatever. It just seemed to be FBI and themselves. The whole thing just really, if Trump gets brought up on any of these trumped up charges, really seriously, there's gonna be. I don't see the country actually sitting still. And not to incite myself because I'm not saying to do any of it, but at the same time, I just don't see a lot of people that's sitting back and being like, "Oh, it's okay. Just leave the government to the government. They got this." I would almost think that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to actually jump on that and be like, "Nope, nope, this is not happening." You're going to see masses worth of people actually taken to the street on both sides.
Yeah, no, I think
There's
you
good
are.
people on
I
both
think we're
sides. It's
seeing
okay.
we're seeing the start of something really major. I
Yeah,
thought we were seeing it back on January 6th, and it sort of kind of piddled out and did what it did, but it was the first stepping stone. Not that anybody wants it, but they're setting it up. And when you start using the criminal justice system to exact revenge against your political rivals, the only recourse is what happened in 1776. Really, I mean,
correct,
that's your only
correct.
recourse, right?
Right,
So, I mean, that's your only. If you try to challenge the government and in a response you get charged criminally, then what's the alternative, right? So, that's just what's coming. Going down this road, and the attorney general for the state of Michigan, who is Democrat, charged our former governor, who's Republican, a number of years ago with the Flint water crisis issue. I don't know
mhm,
if you recall
I do.
the Flint water was bad. There was a statewide plan to tap into a older system, and for some reason they tapped into some pipes that had some lead
Right,
contamination, and then there
right,
was lead in the water. So they
right.
charged our former governor criminally for that. And I actually did a stream a number of years ago about that when it first happened. The question was, is does the government have to provide you with water? Was kind of the issue. But that was a test, I believe. That was a test to see if whether or not you can criminally charge a political rival for actions that they did in office and see where it went. Now, those ended up getting dismissed like 4 years later or whatever. But I think that was a test. And now they're doing it with Trump. And they're trying to, uh, I mean, if you can scare enough people away from being your rivals, then you don't have rivals, right? So then they get full control. And that's a problem because if people
And then
can't,
you look at Michigan. Michigan is really kind of scary in itself when you actually think about what you're actually saying, and they actually remove a governor like they did to install the one that's currently there, of Gretchen Whitmer,
well,
and
they
the
didn't
stuff that
remove
she's
him.
done.
They charged him criminally after because he ran for 2 terms. We have 2 term limit. So he
Okay,
finished up his term, and then
it did.
Whitmer was
Okay,
elected, and um, Nessel was elected as Attorney General. And Nessel is the one that charged him, that charged Snyder, our former governor, criminally. And I think it was a test. I really do. I think, hey, we have an opportunity to try to test this out, and they did, and it failed. The charges ended up getting dismissed, but I think that was it. How is the public going to respond? Are we going to be able to make charges stick? Are we going to be able to use this? That they did it during a presidential season. When they charged him and things like that. And I think it was absolutely a test. And now they're going for bigger fish. But I also
it,
don't like the idea of doing it in reverse either, right? So
right.
if what's his name, DeSantis, why did he remove the attorney general? I don't know. He didn't really make any statements, assuming
Right.
it's legal. It's kind of still, two wrongs don't make a right. You can't do the same tactic that they're doing. So I don't like that either.
So then, you see, Young Men's actually said Pence was in Iowa on the soapbox. The interesting one is there's so many people that actually seen that Pence was there because they actually broadcast it. They actually hit it up on mainstream media, but mainstream media did not catch and produce anything that had anything to do with Trump actually being in Iowa today. If you actually watch RSBN, he was there and he had a very, very large crowd. It seems as though mainstream media has leaned to the point of actually not talking about him in any way, shape, or form that would actually make it look like there's anything good coming from him. They'd rather actually just turn away and not even look at him. They don't want to even say that he was even there.
On January 6th, you mean?
No, it just today. Just today alone, Trump was
Oh,
actually
today.
in Iowa, and as I said, she said that Pence was in Iowa on the soapbox. Trump was actually there today, but how many people actually heard that he was there today? When it came down to it, he wasn't. It wasn't broadcast in mainstream. It was there was a YouTube thing and there was an RSBN that actually showed that he was there. But did they mention that Trump was actually there? No, mainstream media
Well,
refuses to do so.
Iowa
But
might have mentioned it. Local media might have mentioned it, Jung, but not national media. That's what we're talking about here.
right, right. No national media whatsoever cared one iota that he was even there. They don't care. They'd rather you just the only thing that they're going to actually bring you is, oh, look, there's another indictment that's coming down the road because we know that there's going to be another one coming down the road as he's already picked up three of them. The fourth one, he should have already picked it up this week. I'm kind of surprised it didn't actually come to fruition already. I can see it coming right around the corner. There's going to be another one, and it's going to actually thrust him to the forefront even more, where people are actually just going to they're going to be voting for him. There's going to be so many people voting for him, but I have a feeling we're going to see what happened in 2020 happen all over again. It won't be for the same person, though. It won't be for. I have the tendency to actually lean back and actually look at what Roger Stone actually said at TPUSA and actually said that it would be Michelle Obama and Gavin Newsom. Michelle being your
Running?
president and Gavin Newsom being your vice, because which is
Not Kamala?
no, because there's the way he stated it is he would assume that Kamala would have actually taken the reins of this particular uh, term within the year of 2024, and everybody would actually see how bad she was and wouldn't actually vote for her, so they would actually nominate Michelle and allow
I
Gavin Newsom to buy
thought
himself in.
I thought they were going to try to bring a I don't know what it would be, a charge of I can't remember. Somewhere in the Constitution, there's a rule that if the president is unable to perform his duties, then the Speaker of the House could have him removed through the proceedings, the proper proceedings, and then the Vice President would take over. I can't remember that particular rule. I expected that to happen with Biden and have Kamala Harris then be, elevated to the VP spot before the campaign. And obviously it hasn't happened, so I don't think it's going to happen now.
And I think a lot of people that thought that were thinking it was going to happen and were afraid of that happening because at that time you had your number three, which would have been your Speaker of the House, becomes your vice president, would have been Nancy Pelosi. Now it's a different swamp creature. Now
Kamala
it's a
would have been
swamp.
able to appoint her VP until the next campaign, I believe. She still would have been just third in the line. But that would have been crazy, Nancy Pelosi as VP. God, one heartbeat away from the presidency.
I mean, not like it's that much different for actually what we're looking at with the other swamp creature in himself of Kevin McCarthy.
Yeah,
I don't. He's a rhino in himself, right?
Everyone, or at least ID, is in here talking about DeSantis. What do you think about DeSantis?
I really don't care for him. I feel that he had done attempted to do some good things for Florida, and made it better for what it was. But don't think that he's actually fit for presidency quite yet. I think there's a couple things that haven't actually sunk in, and I think there's a lot of people actually maybe realizing that he's potentially a swamp creature of himself, and just playing that Republican card to make us think that he's not potentially that deep state, that he might just be. I don't care for him personally. I
See, I want to see another outsider. The
uh,
reason why I like Trump is because he's not an insider politician. I want to see another outsider. And I don't think DeSantis is an outsider, period. I just don't think
right.
he is.
No, he's too far.
To the
He's too
extent that
deep into it. Right.
yeah, to the extent that he portrays himself as an outsider, he doesn't even portray himself as enough of an outsider for me.
So then Vivek Ramaswamy or RFK, when you actually look at it any further, and that's pretty
Yeah, I
much for
guess.
your
I mean, yeah,
next people in general. When you actually ask just what everybody brings up DeSantis, Vivek Ramaswamy seems to be that next one that they bring up. And then, of course, they actually, then you got RFK, because, RFK being, though he says he's a Democrat, is an anti jabber himself. He doesn't care for the stuff that, though he actually took one. I think he realizes and may have potentially been injured, as well as so many others that did get injured and woke up to the situation of being injured, like Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore woke up to the situation that he actually got injured by that jab and realized that the jab was not good and actually got hurt. So he's actually waking up to actually see that he shouldn't actually go that far. I know I bring up somebody that's kind of very left leaning politics. And it has his own channel of Jimmy Dore or whatever. But when the guy really seriously woke up to the situation, had a heart to heart conversation with RFK as well as several others about the issue of those injuries that came from it. And there's so many people that are just like, nah, that doesn't happen. That's not where those came from. The people dying suddenly is nothing new. It's not new. How do you
right.
say that's not new? It's totally new. There's never happened in this mass amount of people, especially younger ages, that are just us and suddenly have blood clots. I'm watching
I
myself on
mean,
some of the terms that I'm using. Obviously, we're on YouTube, so
yeah, right. Yeah, so we got talking code. I mean, I don't know. The problem with it is that everyone pushed it. Okay, we've all seen those medication advertisements on television, right? The
Mhm.
commercials for whatever. And then at the end, there's all these disclaimers. Please consult your doctor before you do blah, 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 blah. Talk to your doctor about this and that. Why are they saying talk to your doctor? Because medications, injections, vaccines, whatever it may be, is an individual choice, and each person is different. While it might work for 100,000 people, it might not work for the 100,001. In fact, it might actually be very, very, very bad. So it's a specific choice that an individual needs to make with consultation of their doctor. That's why the law requires, whatever, the Viagra commercials to say, consult your doctor. And yet we heard none of that with the vid, right? With the vid stab. We heard none of that. Why are we not hearing the same thing? Consult your doctor. Why
uh,
were we not, I should say?
because it wasn't necessarily administered by said doctor. It was actually administered by even just a normal person that was working at the corner of Walgreens.
Yeah, but you could, I mean, it doesn't matter what the medication is. It doesn't even have to be a prescription medication. Those advertisements still have to have that disclaimer. The reason they do is because anything you put in your body, you should probably consult with your doctor about, right? But they weren't pushing that. They weren't pushing that because they wanted to see if this was going to be a valid form of crowd control. Could they get the masses to do something and ignore their doctors or not even consult their doctors? Could they get the masses to do something? I again think that this was a test. This was, how far can we control people?
Mhm.
Otherwise, they would have said, consult your doctor about it, right? Not
I,
just push, 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 push.
yeah, it was a mass push, and I think a lot of people actually still kind of forget about one of the last things that Trump actually did when it comes to looking at him positively in all things is kind of not right either, as he's the one that actually pushed for uh, the first set of shutdowns, in his last ruling of Operation Warp Speed, to actually get this through faster than we ever produced anything before.
Yeah, I think that was a creature of the election. Um, I think he wanted to seem like he could fix this thing. And I also think it's a creature of him surrounding himself with the wrong kind of people. That the wrong he surrounded himself with insiders, right? He's an outsider. And he should have surrounded himself with people that are outsiders and had difference, that weren't caught up in the lobbyists and with the other senators and things like that. So I think you combine those two things. One, I want to win under my belt for the election, and all of my advisors are telling me that it's good, not knowing that his advisors are actually, bought and paid for insiders. Then that's what you get. I don't know. That's my
See,
instinct.
beautiful. Yes. She's out of England. We didn't have Operation Warp Speed, but yet we have the same problems. Because it's very interesting to actually see other countries that have actually gone ahead and done the same thing that we did. One of the largest ones to actually do the same thing that we did was Israel. Israel pushed hard, and they have the most the largest turnout for people actually receiving such a thing. I see you yawning there. You're okay.
Yeah. No.
We can get moving here in a little bit. But I see, they had the largest turnout with the most people actually receiving the whole series, and yet people were just kind of falling over like right after getting them, to people falling over months later to playing heavy amounts of sports and actually coming up with other things like the carditises and the other things that actually go along with all of that, and you just kind of like, really, nobody really realized how far we were actually going with all this, and other than maybe the corrupt Dr. Fauci himself.
Yeah,
I
ID
really
crisis
think.
brings up a point I was going to raise. So when the lockdowns first happened in Michigan, I actually sued the governor, and we had a good win early on. And one of the things I brought up was what Sweden did, and I was in communications with the chief medical guy for Sweden at the time, and he made an interesting statement. He said, "It sounds scary, right? COVID sounds scary because they talk about all the projected numbers of death." He's like, "But every year around fall, flu comes around, and we
Mhm.
put it in the papers and you see it on the news. It's flu season, and we expect to lose, whatever, 5,000 people, 6,000 people, and it's just it's the flu. It's the flu season." He said, "If the flu was novel and new, like the vid, uh, you would be freaking out about the flu. But because it's been around for so long, we don't care anymore. The vid is just like the flu." And that's the approach Sweden took, was treat it like the flu. Just stay away, wash your hands. We're not going to shut things down. And their numbers stayed in their numbers stayed low. There was a spike. Um, what the doctor said, the people we're going to lose are the people at the end of their lives. And while it might sound cruel, they're at the end of their lives. Those are the people that we're going to lose. We're not going to lose young people. We're not going to lose that many, middle-aged people. We're going to lose people at the end of their lives. And that's exactly what happened. That was Sweden's approach, and they're absolutely fine. And he was the same doctor was part of the UN, epidemiological head of the the infectious disease stuff, the stuff that spreads around like the vid and the flu and stuff. He was head of the EU for that as well, or not the EU. I'm sorry, the UN. And then he was the chief medical guy in Sweden for a while. So I use that in my and Sweden was had the lowest infection rates. My wife is Swedish; her parents are there, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever. We still go, bowling and hanging out and doing whatever. We just wash our hands more, and no issues there." Nicholas was the medical guy in Sweden. No, it wasn't Nicholas. I was trying to pull it up because I think I still have the. Hang on, let me find it here. I got a Whitmer. Where is my file? Oh, there it is. All right. Yeah. So anyway, so I thought it was really interesting what the what Sweden did, and I was following it very closely. Do I have the? Is it? I'm trying to find his name. Oh, I have my old files here, and I thought I had a video of him too. It would be a cool video if because it's just him talking. I don't think there'd be any copyright issues, but it was a good video. But yeah, Sweden took, I think, the best approach out of anyone, and in China they're still on lockdown, so I don't know what's going on over there.
Gee, I wonder why Trump would call Koof what he calls it. He has a couple different names that he likes to actually go ahead and push and actually just make you assume that that's where it came from, and it kind of has the potentiality to look like that is just exactly what happened. It actually did come from China, but yeah, for them to actually still be masking and locking down as we're watching Beijing sink into the ocean in itself is kind of really interesting to see what different countries are actually doing. Cohagen has a point on that. World Economic Forum land of Sweden in itself just so happens to be one of those countries that didn't actually go that far. And it's kind of because a lot of this can actually be attributed to actually looking at World Health Organization, World Economic Forum, and many other different world declared organizations that just so happen to think that they're eventually going to control the masses as of one world order. I really seriously find it kind of scary to think that they would actually go that far. I think there's going to be a lot more stuff
Well,
happening.
they
here
had
in
a
the
whole
near
plan
future.
about it.
Go ahead.
They had a whole plan developed ahead of time.
Yeah, because if you actually seen some of those jab kits that were actually around, they actually kind of had them dated out somewhere around like 2014ish, somewhere where there were a lot of those were already being mass produced that they just so happen to use that were actually fully these spike proteins per se that they like to use all so much. And they seem to actually be going to the point of actually, you brought up the flu, like they're actually going to actually bring it to the point where they would actually give you a yearly to take care of not just flu, but also coof. So it's like, oh.
I'm going to put a link to the video that I first watched in private chat.
Okay.
His name, though, is Professor whatever. I'm going to put it in the chat if you don't mind. Just his name. So this is the guy that was head of the Swedish response, essentially, to the vid. He's got an extensive background, and he did some good interviews right at the start. The video that I sent you is from April of 2020. So this is right when this started. And that was the basis for a lot of the arguments that I had. And that's why I watched Sweden really closely, is what this guy had to say in this interview, which is, it's kind of lengthy. It's about 34 minutes long. But it's very, I don't know if you wanted me to share it in your chat, so I just threw it in private chat. But it's a very good interview. He has a lot to say about the realities of how to deal with this.
Yeah, I actually had a co-host that was actually with me for the first, year, and like within the last month, I have like lost contact with him or whatever. He's not been around. Hopefully everything's okay with America Shirts. He very, very he dug into this like super deep, got into all of it, and to get a complete and total understanding on it, we actually went ahead and produced episode number 1 on this particular channel was on this particular type of subject. And we watched the first warning strike actually happen from the very first video. I've had lots of issues going through the first year, picking up several different medical disinformation, as well as several instances instances of catching uh, strikes, living them out, and be like, okay, I'm back, everything's good. We can actually kind of skirt the lines like we always have, to going to the point of actually being like uh being completely and totally yeeted, having no channel whatsoever, to coming back by convincing YouTube that I would actually play nice and wouldn't actually cause them to actually strike me for election disinformation more than the 5 times that they already did in the medical 5 times. I
Do you
had
have a
so many
Rumble channel?
Yes, I do. There is a Rumble. This is not on the Rumble channel, but I do run the Rumble channel in a normal. I did have a plan to actually run. I was going to actually read through the Seattle cop brutal resignation letter after we were done here, because I found it so interesting. Figured it's 15
yeah.
pages. Figured it wouldn't take anything more than an hour, hour and a half at the most anyway. And by the time I got through that, that would actually be produced and actually put on Rumble as well as the YouTube, and be live on Twitter as well. I've figured out how to actually stream it to the Twitter and get it there. So it will be on the Rumble channel as well. I do have a tendency to tell people to make sure you pay attention to which channel you actually sub to on the Rumble side. As for whatever reason,
Yeah.
just like so many others, we all created a channel that were underneath the main channel, and that's the one that we all have the tendency to use. Is that one?
I still don't understand all of Rumble.
But yes, I am on Rumble. Totally. If I ever get yeeted from here ever again, I'm not going to stop doing what I do. I'm going to actually just continue, and I'll move it over there. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand YouTube and their whole issues, but
well, it's in. I think a lot of that actually comes down to who actually owns what. So it's like, we know Google owns YouTube. We know that Alphabet Inc. owns Google, and then we know BlackRock actually owns Alphabet Inc. So it kind of, you can't mess with BlackRock. They don't really care for your opinions or your thoughts, and they will actually yeet you for anything that they want, and don't believe in First Amendment rights.
well, okay, so until the Supreme Court declares social media the public square, the new public square, you don't have First Amendment rights on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or anything else. You really don't, because
Right.
they're not a government agency.
Right.
Now, with this whole, well, I'm not going to say bombshell, because we all knew it was happening, with this whole government intervening with the taking down tweets and Facebook posts about the vid and all of that, or even the election stuff, we're kind of getting close to this might be a quasi-governmental activity, and therefore then First Amendment would apply. But in the normal sense, like, you can't come into my office and declare I have First Amendment rights in your office. No, you don't. It's private property, right? It's the same thing that applies here. You have to follow the rules. You don't have free access. Now, it's different when you go to town hall or the state capitol or the federal capitol. But we have no First Amendment rights here.
Right.
Not against YouTube, anyways. We can't be prosecuted for the things that we say, ideally. But you have no First Amendment rights when it comes to YouTube. You got to play their game. We got to call it the vid. We got to call it the peen. We got to talk in all these code words, which everybody knows what we're talking about. But still, we got to do it. So.
Yep. Exactly that.
Oh, did you post the video?
I did. The video that he actually threw in private, I did throw in chat. Anybody that was actually interested in looking at what he was actually saying,
it's a very good video. Yeah, it's very good. And I watched it and I was like, yeah, that's what we should have been doing. And that's what Sweden did. He was the one that was in charge of it, and that's what Sweden did. Eventually they did get the jab, but it's not required. And but anyways.
And then there's that one. If you guys haven't checked out MLS Law, totally check out his channel. He does, he's a lawyer. I mean, I don't know if you want to grift yourself out as we actually head out.
Oh yeah, check out MLS Law Show. I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer practicing and licensed in the state of Michigan, and I have my channel. We stream trials. We also have other legal and sometimes political commentary. I would say most of my political stuff is very local based. It's Michigan, Detroit area, something like that. It's not usually national based, but we do have some political talk. But most of it's law stuff. And check it out. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment or two.
Go ahead and trying to be all cryptic and all. Yes. Yeah. Totally. YouTube. Do just that and suck my balls. Do all of that.
YouTube is my friend. My friend would do nothing to hurt me. We love you.
Yeah, YouTube. We used to actually pick on a particular person that would. What is her name? It's now Neil. Neil's the one that actually runs YouTube. Screw off Neil and all of the stuff that you actually bring to us. Neil's the guy that actually was the originator of taking away the thumbs down button. All of those people that actually hit the thumbs down button.
Feelings now.
Right. Those that hit that thumbs down button, thank you so much for the support and actually still pushing the algorithm as it is. So it's the beyond the point of what it's actually for, to actually, we as curators still see how many people have actually hit that thumbs down.
Do you know what your approval, your thumbs up and thumbs down rating is on average? Have you ever looked at that?
It's usually like 1 or 2 that are thumb down. Most, like today's 34 likes, that's about 4 or 5 above the average.
You can get your average of approval like over all of your streams, and then you can compare a particular video. Like I did, I can't remember which one I looked at last, and I was wondering what my approval rating was, and then it gave you your average. And my average is 98.8%. So I feel like that's good. I'm doing good. I don't have a lot of haters in my chat.
I have a couple of like personal haters, people that just don't like me for past events, things that that just whatever. I'm not the drama. Anybody that thinks I am the drama, you look at the other side to see where the drama actually comes from. And you'll find them all hanging out together. As far as that goes, those unnamed people, you can actually, it's very interesting how that all works itself out. But yes, thank you. Added to like, almost forgot. Yes, just crush that like button. check out MLS Law, do all of that. We do appreciate you, and we actually do enjoy you all being here all so much. If you haven't done all that YouTube like things, please do that. I'm actually going to go ahead and we're going
I
to.
hate you for your total lack of drama. ID crisis. See, now he's starting to speak my language.
Boring.
It's the sarcasm of my language.
Yeah, see, brother Madcore mofo. Yes, he is. He's so hilarious. That great Australian dude. That
Oh, the
country that
Mad,
doesn't
yeah,
exist.
I know.
Yes.
I know Madcore. He's got a channel, right?
Yes. The
Why do I
Madcore
feel
show.
like
He
yes, I'm already
did
subscribed to his channel, but I didn't have the alerts turned on.
Yes, the word stream. Yes, he did. We did something a couple Fridays ago where we actually put everybody on a list.
Not
of
everybody.
VodTubers.
I wasn't on the list.
I was. I've railed for both you and Steve Gosney to be entered into the next time that we actually do such a thing. So
I have a cartoon being generated of myself, so I will get that image out. You guys can add it to the
hell yeah,
list.
there you go. Awesome. Again, we appreciate you also very much. If you haven't done all those things, please do all those things before we actually leave. And any last words that you'd like to actually share with them?
No, I mean,
No.
I don't have anything.
No, it's all good. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to hit that end stream. You will be actually transferred from here to my other stream that I'll be running here in a short bit. I'm going to actually get up, grab another drink, go to the bathroom, come back and run that stream. So I will do that here within the next probably 15-ish minutes. I'll be back. Just got here. What's up, guys? What's up, Jerry? Jerry, I'm going to actually run another stream here in a short bit. You'll be transferred over there. Stick with me. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for coming and joining us. Later. Bye everybody.